Many people first notice it during an ordinary workday. An email arrives late in the afternoon, a new project, a revised target, another meeting added to a calendar that already feels full. Nothing unusual happens. Nobody forces a decision. Nobody explains a larger plan. Yet work changes direction almost immediately. Hours shift, attention shifts, priorities shift, and often, without realizing it, people shift with them. The assumption is usually straightforward. Companies need productivity. Employees need income. Work exists because both sides benefit. For most people, that explanation feels complete enough. It feels practical, reasonable, familiar. But familiarity can make certain forces difficult to see, because much of modern work is not shaped primarily by instructions. It is shaped by incentives, and incentives often influence behavior long before anyone consciously recognizes them. This becomes visible in small moments. A worker accepts additional responsibilities because promotion opportunities appear tied to visibility. A manager responds to quarterly targets because compensation depends on performance metrics. A company expands expectations because competitors are doing the same. None of these decisions appear irrational. In fact, each decision often appears responsible. Yet the outcome frequently extends beyond the original decision itself. The additional responsibility becomes normal. The higher target becomes expected. The temporary adjustment becomes permanent. Over time, the behavior remains even after the original reason fades into the background. Most people have experienced some version of this. A salary increase arrives. At first, it feels like progress. Then rent increases. A mortgage payment replaces an apartment lease. A second vehicle becomes practical. Monthly subscriptions accumulate almost unnoticed. Retirement contributions increase. Insurance costs rise. The budget expands around the new income. The raise remains real, but so do the new obligations. The result is a contradiction many people recognize immediately. Income rises. Pressure remains. Sometimes pressure grows. The common assumption is that more compensation naturally produces more freedom. There is obvious logic behind that belief. Additional income creates options. Larger financial margins reduce certain forms of uncertainty. Higher earnings can improve quality of life in meaningful ways. Yet many people discover that the feeling of progress does not always match the numbers. The six-figure salary that once represented security becomes the amount required to maintain an established routine. The promotion that once seemed optional becomes necessary. The higher standard of living becomes difficult to reverse. The expectation survives because the outcome appears successful from the outside. The mismatch remains largely invisible. This is where incentives begin to reveal themselves more clearly. At the visible level, people notice longer work hours, increasing workloads, persistent stress, and growing difficulty stepping away from professional responsibilities. These are the outcomes. The hidden driver often sits underneath them. Modern organizations rarely need direct pressure when incentive structures already exist. Performance reviews, bonus systems, promotion pathways, compensation tiers, competitive rankings, employment uncertainty. Each mechanism encourages behavior without requiring constant supervision. People respond because responding makes sense. The incentive does not need to force behavior. It only needs to make one choice appear slightly more attractive than another. Over time, those small decisions accumulate. A professional stays late because reliability matters. Another accepts weekend work because future advancement matters. Someone else avoids using vacation time because visibility matters. Each choice appears isolated. Each choice appears rational. Together, they gradually establish a new baseline. What once felt exceptional becomes expected. What once felt temporary becomes routine. Behavior adapts. This adaptation creates a second layer of reinforcement. Many financial systems reward consistency more than flexibility. Mortgage approvals favor predictable income. Retirement planning assumes stable contributions. Long-term financial commitments often depend on future earnings remaining uninterrupted. The more responsibilities a person acquires, the more valuable predictability becomes. Again, nothing here appears unreasonable. The problem is not that people make poor decisions. The problem is that successful decisions often create conditions that encourage even more dependence on continuing the same path. A larger home may require a larger mortgage payment. A larger mortgage payment increases dependence on continued employment. Dependence on continued employment influences future career decisions. Career decisions influence daily behavior. The incentive structure expands far beyond work itself. Eventually, it reaches financial life, family planning, housing choices, geographic mobility, and future opportunities. This is not necessarily planned. It emerges gradually. Many people only recognize the pattern once changing direction becomes difficult. A third layer appears when incentives begin shaping identity. The employee who consistently exceeds expectations becomes known as dependable. The manager who remains constantly available becomes known as committed. The professional who never disconnects becomes known as ambitious. These labels often carry rewards: higher compensation, greater responsibility, additional opportunities, recognition from peers. The incentive becomes social as well as financial. At that point, responding to incentives no longer feels like adaptation. It feels like personality. People begin describing behaviors that were initially responses to external pressures as reflections of personal character. The distinction becomes difficult to separate. This creates another contradiction. The traits most rewarded by the system can gradually reduce flexibility outside of it. Commitment creates opportunity, but commitment can also create obligation. Reliability creates trust, but reliability can increase expectations. Success creates security, but success can increase maintenance requirements. The contradiction is not that these outcomes are bad. The contradiction is that the benefits and costs often grow together. Many people encounter this during seemingly responsible financial decisions. They increase retirement contributions, they purchase a home, they accept promotions, they pursue greater income, they seek security. Each decision appears rational because each decision often is rational. Yet collectively, these decisions can create a financial structure that depends on continued performance at exactly the level that created it. The result is not immediate distress. It is gradual rigidity. Flexibility narrows, optionality decreases. Future choices become more expensive. Not financially expensive alone, emotionally expensive, professionally expensive, practically expensive. A person may remain in a role they no longer enjoy because replacing the income would disrupt too many commitments. A family may postpone major life decisions because uncertainty has become difficult to absorb. A worker may continue pursuing advancement, not because advancement remains meaningful, but because existing obligations assume it. The incentive remains active, even when enthusiasm disappears. This is where modern work begins to look less like a collection of individual choices and more like a system of interconnected adaptations. Organizations respond to competition. Employees respond to incentives. Households respond to costs. Markets respond to behavior. Each participant behaves rationally within their circumstances. Yet the collective outcome can produce patterns that nobody consciously intended. People adapt to incentives. Companies adapt to incentives. Institutions adapt to incentives. And eventually, entire societies adapt to incentives. By that stage, the original incentive may no longer need to be visible. The behavior continues on its own. Work expands because expansion has become normal. Commitments increase because increasing commitments has become normal. Dependence grows because dependence has become normal. The most powerful incentives are often not the ones people resist. They are the ones people eventually stop noticing. Because once a behavior becomes normal, it no longer feels like a response. It simply feels like reality. If people adapt to incentives long before they understand them, then how much of modern work is responding to forces that now feel completely normal? Finance Simplified explores how incentives and financial systems shape behavior over time.